And hello, creative spirits listeners. You have Kate Darnell from Gumroot. So this is what this I'm gonna just laugh myself off today. And Sherrie McCarthy from Creative Mermaids. And guys, today's a doozy. This is all about walking your talk, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And I'm just going to do a quick little intro here to tell you a little bit of background what's going on here. So this is actually take two. Take two of what almost wasn't even a take one, because I wrote Kate this morning and I was like, you know what? I'm solo parenting today. I've got two kids down below. You know, they are 3 and 5. They can't even go to the bathroom by themselves. So do we want to do this today? You know, this is, maybe we should just cancel. And Kate's like, no. You know, like, this podcast is about doing it raw, showing up, you know, but seriously, you know, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, practice what you preach, right? Like, this isn't about doing it perfectly. This is about doing it, learning, rolling with it. So we jumped on, of course, because I tried to bail too. We had no topic. You know? And I was like, I know I want to talk about something with fear, but I don't know what I want to talk about with fear. So Kate, what did you pull?
Okay,
so
I pulled a card.
Kind of like narrow down our topic.
To just give us a little bit of direction, because that's me walking my talk. That's my go-to tool when I need a little bit of substance. And the message that we pulled from Spirit today was, I am on the right path and divinely guided. There it is. So,
and of course, this for me just lit up all my centers. Go on, yeah.
Absolutely. It absolutely lit up a lot in us, because what we realized was, even through us trying to control a topic, we were becoming fearful. We'll be becoming fearful of, do we have something to say? Oh, it might be a few takes anyway, or the kids are here, maybe it's not going to work. So instead of just saying yes, giving it a go, providing, you know, there's healthy and safe boundaries in place always. That's what we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly.
And just surrendering and thinking, really, what's the worst that can happen here? Because we might not get a podcast recorded, and if you're listening, haha, we did. It's just time for us to, you know, to lean into trust. We are all on the right path. We are divinely guided. You know, it wouldn't surprise me, most of the people that come across the Creative Spirits podcast are likely quite divinely guided. And, you know, I'll listen to that. That was, you know, they're listening, they're tuning into their intuition, which often means we have to ask fear to shut the up.
And this, yes, Kate, yes. Because I was even just thinking as you were saying this, guys. So this is maybe what happened, and divinely guided and everything else. Because we had about 15 minutes in, some really good material. Kate had even gone, Kate Darnell sound effects here. And it wasn't the kids who interrupted the podcast. Kate, you forgot, you knocked out your plug, and the laptop died. So we lost it. We lost the whole thing. Guys, how many times have you done a first draft and lost it? Or you worked on a creative project and something has happened to derail it, and you think to yourself, all this work, and maybe you're actually someone now listening to this going, I had this happen to me. You know, Dropbox ate my draft. Or, you know, Scrivener's notorious for, you know, 1 out of every 100,000 not thinking, and all this really great work you lost, and you just get so enraged, and you think, see, this is a sign I'm not even supposed to do this. This is a sign to just step away and walk away and give up or do something else. And you know what? I would actually argue exactly that this is a sign that you take that knowledge and you make something even better. Because I think this episode actually already is better.
And I didn't think that was possible. And it was actually a moment, Sherrie and I are like, it was so good. I wonder if I can find it and we can tag something on and recreate that. And it's not going to be as good. And then we had a moment where I was like, hang on a minute. We're doing it again. We're putting fear.
Exactly.
We're jumping in onto that fear. Like, no, let go of the outcome, my loves. Surrender and be. Like, it is time to just come into the moment and trust that we are on the right path. We're being divinely guided, and all is working out. One is that one, exactly as it should and needs to, and two, in the right order at the right time, perfect for you. And that, my loves, is the good and the bad and the minute and the huge. And, you know, in the whole scheme of things, Sherrie and I know this is something little, but we as humans experienced that you know, that fear, that anxiety before we press record, when hello, we're all about the messy middle and just pressing record. So I think the Spirit is really making Sherrie and I check ourselves this week and check in and see that we are walking our talk, which I know Sherrie and I, both of our work comes from such a deep place of truth and integrity that it's really is important that we do, one, share our fears, share our truths, but also like pick ourselves up on them and make sure that we are, you know, practicing what we preach. So hence, here we are creating a better podcast about releasing fear, embracing it sometimes so you can get down and dirty with it, and then moving on and creating the best, most magical life that's meant for you. It comes back to choice, right?
And yeah, just so much. Now's my turn. Oh! Sound effects built in this one. Exactly.
Yes.
And you kind of needed to hear the non-existent one to understand, but exactly. But I think this is huge because, and you're so right there. And I think this is Spirit really going, okay, you know, you're talking about real-time healing. You're talking about, you know, the messy middle. Then show people your messy middle and show how, even though we're talking about this, guys, and we really say, you know, like embrace it and roll with it and this is normal, of course we fight our own messy middles. You know, we are still human. We're still trying to control things. You know, we are in that goo going, I don't want to be a goo. I need to put this goo together. And this is ego stepping in. And we did say this last time, and I'll bring it in this time too, about how sometimes anxiety, you know, we like to talk ourselves down. We like to bring ourselves small. And we like to say, well, you know what, this isn't fear. This is just anxiety. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just, you know, wanting to make sure it's perfect. I'm just wanting to make sure that I'm not making a fool of myself. And that, again, is ego stepping in going, okay, this isn't what you think it is. It's just anxiety. So just do this, follow this. You know, you jump on that hamster wheel and you kind of go around in circles. And you gotta go, wait, no, stop. Fear is fear. It's anxiety. You know, it's stress, it's grief, so many different things actually is the fear of not knowing what the outcome's going to be. And this is also why a lot of us sell ourselves short in our lives, where we want the stability and we want to say, you know what, this isn't great, but it's good. And I'll accept that because it could be so much worse. And that's your fear stepping in. That's your anxiety stepping in. This is you tricking yourself out of the life you deserve from this false sense of security and belief that you can control the future as long as you play nice, as long as you play just big enough that you're within the grounds. Because, you know, if you go out into the ocean, maybe a shark's going to get you. You know what? Maybe you go out into the ocean and you become a freaking mermaid and they'll rule the entire deck. We don't know. You never know. But that's also like saying that by staying in the small pond, I'm a big fish in a small pond. Well, eventually another fish will get bigger. There is no such thing as truly controlling your life. We can't do it. And this is where the anxiety comes in and the hamster wheel comes in. We constantly are telling ourselves things like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Stop, jump off, and be like, you know what? Exactly. Breathe.
Yep.
I have no idea what the future is going to be. I don't. Nobody does. But I know what my heart is singing for. I know what my soul wants. It wants to create. It wants connection. So show up and talk to Kate this morning. And the worst thing that happens is you had a beautiful conversation with Kate that no one witnesses.
It wasn't even on Sherrie.
Wow, imagine that.
Here we
are. This is just it, you know, like.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying to control the factors. And the ones I'm trying to control wasn't even the factor that played in.
No, not at all. Not at all. It was me. It was absolutely 100% me. I made a little note. Like, naturally, I think human beings, we want people to think we've got our shit together, right? Like, before someone comes to my house, I want my house to be clean and tidy and organized and ta-da, this is how I live. And then they're here for 3 minutes and I'm like, well, I could have fooled anyone because I have children. And I'm kind of, you know, like, and it just, you know, I think that fear and that control thing, they fuel each other. Fear, control, fear. What, like, who really cares if there's some dishes in the sink, like, or there's and if they do care, are they in true alignment with who I am and what I'm about?
Yes, this is just it.
It doesn't actually matter.
Exactly.
And so I think it's really good to have these conversations, because I know that we create our own expectations, and we want, you know, we do naturally as humans want people to go, oh yeah, they're really, yes, I'm, you know, thinking that because you got your shit together you can be trusted. No, just trust us,
Yes.
because we
Yes.
are real human beings who are sitting in our own crap. Sorry for the swearing disclaimer this episode.
Yeah.
Sitting in our own crap.
I'll try to remember.
And embracing and it doesn't matter, release the fear. Sitting in our own crap.
Exactly.
Just embracing where we are, who we are, the connections we're making when we do let go of that fear. Perfect. Yeah.
Yes. And again, I think this also brings in a little bit, again, you know, you can have the masculine goal striving, and it's important,
Yes.
but the feminine connection and just reaching out and experiencing it just for the sake of experiencing it is also equally valid, and even more valid, I think, for every day. You know, again, the goal is important. You need to align. You need to go for what you want, especially when, you know, if you want to get your book out, you need to write it.
Yeah.
But you also need to go with this whole, you know what, okay, I don't need to push all the time. It's also okay if my book comes out in 6 months. You know, it's okay if my book comes out in a year. Like, what do you want? What do you need? Stepping back and really going, what am I telling myself? Who am I? Like, you know, the dishwashing example, this is just as equal when it comes to your book. Yes, you know, if a super clean house, despite having small children and working, is really important to you and to your friends, that's fine.
Totally fine.
But if it's not that important to you, exactly, but if it's not that important to you and it's not to me, do I need people in my life who come in to stress me out about the state of my house when I'm perfectly happy with my life in other ways? I don't. And it's the same thing with your book or your creative project. Oh, it's getting loud and raining out here. Hold on a second.
I love the
I think it got so loud. And I think it's the exact same thing when it comes to your book. And this is why I think so many people get so confused with their creative projects, whether it's painting or writing or sculpture or dance, it doesn't matter. But it can be quite confusing sometimes to get your goals mixed up, because you're like, okay, is my goal to make money from this? Is my goal to make a living from this? Is my goal just to feel it and experience it? All of them are equally valid, and not a single wrong thing with either one of them. But it's quite confusing sometimes when you just want to dance, and then someone comes along and is like, you're a fabulous dancer, you should be a professional, you know, just with a little bit more training. And you think, wait, maybe I should be a professional. And then all of a sudden, your training is no longer this fun, creative fuel for your soul, and it starts sucking you dry. And then it's very difficult to kind of divorce yourself, because you go, but I should want to be the best. I should want to have other people like applaud me for this. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to come in and say, okay, where's the fear? Is the fear stopping me from becoming the best because I'm afraid to be the best? Or is the fear stopping me because actually I don't want to do this and I'm afraid to tell people I don't? That's where the real messy, hard work comes in, and where you need to start pulling back and going into alignment, because no one can answer that for you. No one can do that but you. But I think we all secretly know the answer. We just like to tell ourselves, shh, shh.
Yeah.
It's much easier to go outside yourself for answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And do you know, I love this because two things. First of all, surrendering to the moment. And doing the beautiful Hawaiian saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please, I love you, thank you. And we talked about that in the first recording too. And here we are, saying it again, really still fixated on that first recording, letting it go. But I'm saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And talking about the power of surrendering to the moment, how the best messages can come out when you surrender to the fears and the worries, and you just say yes and you just give it a go. And, you know, trusting in spirit and trusting that if it's in true heart and soul alignment, it's going to all work out perfectly anyway. But the second thing that really spoke to me then, to the point that I went and visited my screenshot folder, is the power of choice. And a quote I read from, found it on Instagram from hashtag uplift. Choice is the most powerful tool we have. Everything boils down to choice. We exist in a field of infinite possibilities. Every choice we make shuts an infinite number of doors and opens an infinite number of doors. At any point, we can change the direction of our lives by a simple choice. It is all in our hands, our hearts, and our minds. So we get to choose, is this fear going to cripple us and stop us from becoming the best version of ourselves, which is messy and sticky and icky and sometimes gross and involves tears and vomit and all sorts of yuckiness? Or are we going to go, do you know what? This is me. This is real life. I am a human, but I'm also going to make space for all the stuff that I do love doing as well. And I'm going to prioritize it, and I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm not going to fear what other people are going to think, or that I'm not going to get certain things come, because my beautiful, 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 our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful listeners, we create those expectations. We make the choices, and really the sky has no limit whatsoever.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. And again, I also just had like another light bulb thing going off there too, because I was like, actually in the Inanna Descent course I'm currently working on, is that I want to argue is that we should actually be turning towards the messy, the gunky, the dirt. That somehow, like, because it's a very feminine-based course, and it's like, you know what? When you think of childbirth, childbirth is not clean. It is not clean, people.
Nope, not clean.
There
nothing clean. Nothing
there
clean
is
about
blood. Nope, there is blood, and there are fluids, and it often involves poop.
Definitely, definitely poop
from both people. You know? And yet, the end result is the most perfect creation of pure joy and love. And I don't know when and where we started to become afraid and why we got so sanitized. And one of the things I argue is why we should be embracing these old archetypes from the fairy tales and from the mythology is that these archetypes have to go through the shit. They have to go through the mess. They have to go through the gunk. Because going through that gunk, it strips them of their innocence, but they come out a powerful woman. And our society wants to keep us an innocent girl. They've sanitized our fairy tales to keep us innocent, to keep us afraid of the mess, to run away from the gunk, to be like, ooh, that's dirty, and I don't want to be messy, and I want to have a perfect life, and la 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 la, instead of going, and you're afraid. That keeps you trapped in your golden cage of fear, and you're like, but it's shiny and it's pretty in here, and I think I can control it. You can keep it at bay sometimes, but it's there, and it's waiting for you to let your guard drop for a second, you know? And I think this is really, really important that we realize that we have the choices, but that we don't even realize the choices we have because they've been scrubbed clean. And now we need to start looking at our choices as kind of like hidden rabbits that society has kind of drawn around. Hidden rabbits, like from the kids, find a picture. You know, like once you find them and color them in, like, oh, how did I not see that before? Yeah. But when you first look at the picture, you don't see them. That's how our choices are at the moment. They're hidden, you know, like we have them. We just are so used to not seeing them that we don't even realize they're there. And we need to step up and be like, you know what? I do have these choices. You don't have to make the choice today. Sometimes a huge step is just realizing, oh, I'm thinking about a choice. The option is there. It could be a possibility. I don't have to commit today. I think this is also sometimes what keeps us free. You need to know when to move forward and when to stay in place, but to always be aware that you have these choices, and that's where the power is. Absolutely. I love that. That was a great quote. You might have to send that to me.
Yeah, I will send it straight after this. It was a great find when I was just surrendering to the moment and letting Lulu fall asleep when she needed to, which wasn't in the time frame I wanted her to fall asleep in. So I just let that go.
Right, exactly.
Really, what was the fear? That she might have still been awake at 10 p.m. Chances if she was, she wasn't. So yeah, I found that quote and it served its purpose. We are on the right path and divinely guided. Oh, and something came to me then. I think for both of us too, when our worlds came together, we were both in pretty messy places. And I know for me, I was still choosing that sort of martyr, that people pleaser, and I wasn't really listening to me. So something like this would have probably made me feel uncomfortable, but I would have made the choice to keep listening. So for that person that's still listening but feeling a little bit uncomfortable and like, you know, but we make it sound so easy, bringing it back to what we're saying at the beginning, walking our talk, like just know that it starts with that one thing that you were divinely guided to, maybe this podcast, where you go, I'm going to make this choice. I'm going to trust a little more today and fear a little less. And, you know, this is what real magic is. It's not going, hello, I'm Kate and this is Sherrie and we have our shit together. Oh my God, you know, because I don't even know what I was channeling then, but it's not who we are and it's not what we're about. And, you know, that's that. Kate drops the mic. I don't know.
but I think this is so true, because sometimes I get really angry though too, because I'm like, and this is my own shit, you know, where I'm kind of like, oh, this makes me so mad. This person is so shiny and it's obviously so not real and people are eating it up. And I'm like, don't you realize it's not real? And then I realized, but Kate, but exactly what you just said, that it's easier to believe that is real, you know, and to accept that.
Keep us in the pond.
Exactly.
You have my money, make me better.
Exactly. Because obviously you've got shit figured out that I don't. You know?
No, I'm thinking, whoa, what's this a reflection of for me, Kate Darnell? Like, where are the mirror lessons in this?
But this is just it
right now. Am I in too deep?
Exactly.
I'm not going to fear it. I'm, you know, courage and vulnerability, Brené Brown. Yeah, let's just. This is where
exactly
the growth comes. Yep.
Exactly. And oh, 1 second. Hold on, guys. Mom Pa just popped up. So we can get some real radio life here.
Oh, this is real life.
Mom Pa, this is Falcor.
I love this.
6'9". What's up? Bonjour.
So I didn't get the card, but I got the ticket. The question is, do you want me to order some more bread now that I'm here, or?
Yes, please. 2.
Which one and how much?
Coconut. It should be 20.
Wait, it costs 20?
It's 10 each, so 2 is 20.
Okay.
Okay, see you soon.
Real life.
All right, bye-bye. Back to the face.
We love you, Patrick. What is going to happen? What is going to happen if we keep this
All right.
What's going to happen if we keep
No, there's no peanut butter, sweetheart. There's just bread. Okay, now this might be the notice that it's over. We dropped our truth bombs. Truth bombs. I can't even speak anymore. I'm like,
Spirit's like,
too much real life intruding on me.
Sherrie, enough. Pull it back. Okay, we're pulling it back.
And it turns.
Let's pull it back. I think we nailed it with the fear less.
Exactly.
Trust more. Listen to Kate and Sherrie.
Exactly.
Your real thing in your life. And on that note, we're going to talk to you next week about we don't know what, because we just know that we're on the right path and we're divinely guided.
Exactly.
And do you know what? We might bring you a really shiny podcast, and that'll be okay too, because we're constantly changing, we're constantly evolving, and we're constantly embracing all of who we are in the exact moment. So namaste, beautiful souls.
And if you're Sherrie, doing that, you're on the right path. Exactly. Yay! Namaste.
So much love to you. And we'll catch you all soon for the next podcast. Yay, us. Bye.